forward, looked over his shoulder. Pavlyuchenko, there's a blunder!
Good day, everybody. Welcome to our pilot episode of The Rebound, a YouTube channel dedicated to having a second watch of some of football's greatest, most historic, most famous, and/or most infamous games throughout the whole history of the beautiful game. I am Matt Harrison, and also bounding towards this first rebound for our launch episode is Nick Bell and Luke Chambers. So first of all, how are you, Nick Bell?
Doing very, very well, Matt. Thank you very much. Looking forward to spending the last Sunday of summer watching classic football. There's nothing better to do, is there?
Absolutely. And we definitely do have a classic. Speaking of classics, Luke, how are you? And did you witness a classic yesterday at Queen of the South?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you. For anybody who don't follow my social media, I, of course, was in Scotland yesterday watching Queen of the South versus Celtic Hearts, a game that, come on, we're all football fans. You cannot miss Queen of the South versus Celtic Heart. Random. But yeah, fantastic game, to be honest. I were really impressed. The one thing I didn't enjoy too much is that Queen of the South playing a 4G pitch. I understand why, but I wanted to see some bubbly Scottish Football League. Both teams were playing out the back, like, funnily enough, Barcelona.
Well, yeah, I've been to that ground to watch. I think they were like a 4th division Scottish team many, many years ago. So I really liked that ground. And the weather looked very Scottish, at least for you. It did look quite brutal as I was sitting in a bar by the beach in my adopted home of Marbella. I was not jealous of you, to say the least. So before we introduce this channel a little bit more and what we're going to do with it and what we're going to do today, Nick Bell, do you want to say a little about yourself? Where do you come from? Etc.
Well, as most people who we know will already know, obviously we used to be on the gicinft together, which was the Malaga fan podcast. I believe we've all sort of like ventured out into our own little side hustles now. So I do El Partido, which is like a football nostalgic podcast, all based on Spanish football. We interview authors, fans. Matt, we do some football 11s from time to time. But I also do El Pozo now, which is a dedicated Primera Ref, which is the 3rd tier of Spanish football podcast with Liam Bambish. So, yeah, plenty to keep us busy. But when you introduced this as a concept and something to do and to get the band back together again, I was like, yeah, we've got to do it. We've got to do it. Ticks on my boxes.
Great stuff. And I've already touched upon, Luke, that, my adopted home is the Costa del Sol. Your sort of digital football content home is the Costa del Sol these days.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, I am the pilot of the ship currently of Costa del Football. Just basically, we've all been on holiday to Spain. Ourselves go very, very regular to watch Malaga, but people who's gone on holiday to Spain, they maybe fall in love with the place and want to just check out the local team. I've been on Madness, Fuengirola, Marbella. And Costa del Football is the place to be to just find out your simple stuff, your results, your little bits of news. But yeah, same as Nick, when Matt created this idea once more, like he very famously did with the gicinft, it was a very good opportunity to get the band back together, which I could not turn down.
Yeah, just in case you bump into one though, Luke, ships don't have pilots; they have captains.
Yeah, I'm rusty, Matt. It's been a while.
Yeah. So yeah, and just for me, like I am now the captain of the Los Boyos ship, which I think some people will know from. We did a blog through like the 2010s, which ended in 2018, about me and my brothers ground hopping, and we've revived it in podcast form with a guest, and we talk about the club or area that guest is linked to, and we've had all sorts on there from Uzbekistan football to Luxembourg to, we had Graham Hunter on, which Nick joined me for. So yeah, we call it a football travel podcast, which I suppose sort of links to this in a way, because this is still a football travel podcast of sorts, but I suppose this is a time travel football podcast. But sadly, we don't have the technology yet to actually time travel to old stadiums and witness these games live. So we're going to do it by watching some, I don't know, questionable feeds at times. And it's not questionable one today. We've got a very good feed today. Shout out to UEFA TV, which is free, and we're going to watch the game on there. But essentially, any way we can find whole 90 minutes of classic games, because we are going to watch the whole 90 minutes of these games. We're trying to pick games that iconic or infamous or whatever, and we sort of just casually go through it, hopefully throw in some insight as well. And yeah, like, we're hoping to have some viewers alongside to watch with us. That'd be great. Like I said, this is very much a test run, a pilot episode. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, and maybe in the future we'll get guests on to join us to sort of dribble through the pitch of football nostalgia. So for this pilot episode, I think we sort of discussed that we were going to rotate who picks the game, but we sort of all agreed on this one. So we're going to rewatch the 2009 Champions League final between Manchester United and FC Barcelona. So if you do want to watch along, I said you can find it on UEFA TV, the whole 90 minutes. You do have to sign up, but it's free. It takes about 30 seconds. I think there's a few other places you can find it. More sort of, I think Daily Motion might show it, for example, but you might have a few ads there. But yeah, so just quickly, guys, before we press play, Luke, do you remember watching this game sort of live at the time?
I do. I fondly remember it. Coming from a Manchester United family, we went over to the local welfare club where the Doncaster Man United branch actually run from. I dare say, if I remember rightly, there were about 250 to 300 people there, and both teams were very much hitting form that season, so it was always going to be a bit of a classic.
Yeah, what about you, Nick? Do you remember watching this?
I do, yes. And like I say, I don't think I have many connections to either sides at the time. Sort of like really maybe just getting the introduction to Spanish football. But yeah, I think I watched this more as I'd like to see Barcelona turn Man United over in this one, because, you know, at the time everyone just hated Man United, didn't they? I know I certainly did. But yeah, no, like you say, it's kind of like the peak Barcelona side for me, because, you know, I'm sure we'll get into the discussion, but you look at some of the players in this lineup and my God, like, and there's a Spanish football nostalgic content creator, you know, that term gets pushed around a lot. This, like I said before, ticks all my boxes. It's got, you know, Yaya Toure as a centre back, for example, just peak Pep.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I even text some of my friends yesterday to say I was doing this, trying to remember where we watched this final, because it was definitely in Swansea, and I vividly remember watching the Chelsea Barcelona game with my colleagues from Toys R Us in Walkabout in Swansea, because lots of my colleagues were Chelsea fans. And at this time, I was full on Barcelona fanboy. I had been since I was a kid, so which I've had to sort of disown a bit in my Malaga supporting years. But I remember this team, we would go to the pub at the end of our street on a Sunday night, or I would at least, just to watch this Barcelona team. So this is one of my favourite teams of all time. So I have strong memories of going to the Bryn Mawr. I definitely remember watching Barcelona 6, Real Madrid 2 in the Bryn Mawr pub in Swansea. But yeah, we can't remember where we watched the final. It was definitely in Swansea, but I was a bit annoyed I couldn't remember where exactly. But you sort of touched upon it a little bit there, Nick. Before we sort of press play and perhaps go through the lineups, which player are you most looking forward to watching?
Do you know what? There's something about Thierry Henry for me. In any guise, and I know, Luke, you won't like me to say that out loud given your Spurs connections, but when he left Arsenal, you know, there was a sadness that, oh, well, you know, we're losing him from these shores, but, you know, to go to Barcelona just was the perfect fit for him. And again, he just did Thierry Henry things, didn't he? So, you know, what he did in North London, he went and did in northern Spain. So yeah, I just was fascinated by him in a Barcelona shirt.
Yeah, he's very different in a Barcelona shirt, though, isn't he? He was a bit more sacrificial, which it'll be interesting to see him, because obviously I don't remember this final that well. Obviously, you would have seen the goals and highlights perhaps in the 16 years since this, but it'll be interesting to see if he does that in this game. What about you, Luke? Is there anyone you're particularly looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I can always appreciate a good player. So obviously, like Nick said there, Thierry Henry's Arsenal connections don't go down too fondly with myself. However, it's got to be the two big dogs. It's got to be Cristiano and Lionel Messi. I believe that this was probably one of the first times they came up against each other before the real rivalry, shall we say, came about. Again, both coming off fantastic seasons, and this probably could have won either player the first Ballon d'Or of their career.
Yeah, I think this is the only time they ever meet in a European final as well. So there's that, and I'm pretty sure it is the first time they've played against each other. I'm trying to think, would they maybe in 2008 actually, because they played each other in the semis, but I can't remember if both played in that. I'm not 100% sure.
Is anyone going to mention the real hero of this final as well, or this tournament? I would say.
Go on.
Ji-sung Park, 2009 at the Champions League. He was absolutely unstoppable. Well, was it in this? Was it this year that he absolutely dominated Andre Pirlo at Milan? I think it was in the run up to this final. I'm sure it was.
I'm trying to think who they had. They had them. Certainly the year. Oh, I can't remember. I'll have to check. But yeah, there was. I do remember that game. But yeah, he was their sort of man marker, wasn't he? Which I know in South Korea they weren't very appreciative of, because he was sort of like their flair player, and Man United corrupted him. Yeah, I've got something different. Just I think partly because Messi is wall to wall 24/7. I've seen him so many times now. It's always a joy, of course, but this is in sort of the start or in the middle of absolute peak Iniesta. So, and there's a cool story around Iniesta in this game, which perhaps I'll bring up when we get underway. And also the other one, sorry, I was going to mention, I don't think he has a good game because I think he gets subbed at half time. Can't remember Anderson playing in this game, and I always used to quite like Anderson, and especially in his first 2 seasons, he seemed like a character and a really good footballer as well. So I'm interested. Just be nice to see him, because I'd sort of forgotten about him a bit, to be honest with you.
I think we can all agree that there is one name what does actually stand out on this team sheet as well, and probably a very underrated player, a certain John O'Shea at right back for Man United, who I totally forgot about this, but John O'Shea did actually score in the semi-finals against Arsenal to get Man United in. I think it was the 2-1 victory at Old Trafford.
Yeah. He did before the second leg at the Emirates, I think, isn't it? That famous goal, the counter-attacking goal, which I can't remember who scores it. Is it Ronaldo? But it's Ronaldo. Yeah, and they sort of
Ji-sung Park very, very much involved in that goal as well.
Yes, he gets it, yeah. So just quickly before we press play, what I thought I'd do as well, and I don't know if anyone's like watching, so don't put anything in the comments yet, because I'm going to put the on to you two. I've got a quiz question, so I'll give you the answer at the end. No cheating. You can make a note somewhere and try and work it out. I think I read it, so I didn't have a chance to think about it, but I think it's quite difficult, but doable. In this game, Pep Guardiola becomes the 6th manager to win the Champions League or European Cup as a player and a manager. Obviously, I'm going to ask you, can you name the other 5? There's some big names in there. There's perhaps some slightly more obscure ones, but we'll go back to it at the end. So, without further ado, guys, are you ready to press play on the 2009 Champions League final?
Certainly are.
Indeed, I am.
Let's go. I'm pressing play now.
I've got the classic UEFA Champions League theme in the background immediately. I'm dialed in.
Whereas I have, there was an error accessing this video.
No.
It's all gone wrong in the first 15 minutes.
No. One thing we haven't really spoke about, gents, is obviously the Stadio Olimpico. This game's played in Rome. A fantastic, famous stadium.
Yeah,
and Andrea Bocelli doing the intro. I obviously can't hear him now, and I can't remember. I assume he's doing some kind of like classic opera song, or is he singing the Champions League anthem?
Oh, that'd be amazing. I
can't quite remember whether he was.
Turn your video up quickly. See if we can find out. Just give us a blast.
Champions League.
Is it?
Is it the Champions League?
Champions League.
That is amazing.
That's just amazing. That with obviously with Prince William behind him as well, as you do, as the head of the English FA in his role. I don't know if he still is the head of English FA, is he?
I think he still is.
Yeah. Gents, I'm not a fan of the warm up tracksuit tops when teams come out in a tracky top. But that Man United one, the black and gold, that looks absolutely superb.
Well, to be honest with you, like this era, I'd say maybe the season or two before, maybe this is my favorite era of Man United shirts in general. I think they're always really like clean. I particularly like the one the season before this, where it's the one that had like the sort of gold little trim on it with the, I don't know, just they were really nice shirts all the time, I thought. And I particularly like, I think it's the season after, or maybe 2 seasons after, with the black V sort of on the chest. It's not letting me access UEFA. It's just not even letting me close it down.
We'll tell you about it as it's happening. If you want. That's what's all part. You're now part of the audience.
Nick, is this a trial run to see if me and you were up to doing what Matt's
This is the pilot. The pilot is supposed to have teething issues, but tell you, it's just bringing up the start 11s here now.
Just
Carlos Puyol.
Yeah, perhaps I'll just run through some of the team news while you are watching the teams come out, because my app is firing up again now, but I'll leave it for a second, leave it sort of work itself out. But I guess the big names missing in this, and you've touched upon Carlos Puyol there, is Dani Alves was suspended for getting too many bookings. Abidal got sent off in that Chelsea semi-final before, so he's out. Rafa Marquez is injured. Thierry Henry and Iniesta were very doubtful for this game, and I'll definitely bring up the Iniesta thing later because his story's crazy. The other big miss, you talked about Park Ji-sung being this sort of almost marauding sort of general presser for Man United, but Darren Fletcher is also suspended for this, and I don't know if you remember, he got wrongfully red carded for a foul on Cesc Fabregas in the semi-finals, which ruled him out, or it might be in a booking. I can't remember. Forgive me there, but and Man United appealed it like over and over, like saying, "Come on, have a heart," sort of thing. It was a red card actually, because I don't think you're allowed. Or anyway, it's either one you can't rescind, whichever one you can't rescind. But
you got to look at it as well. Players like John O'Shea, Darren Fletcher, Jason Parks, they were Sir Alex Ferguson's go-to reliable sources in the player.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing a quick little scan over in my head at the minute and thinking which of these players are still playing. And I think just off the top, obviously, Lionel Messi still playing with Inter Miami. Cristiano Ronaldo still playing with Al Nassr. And I think the only other player in both of these team sheets, including the suspects to play, is Johnny Evans. Unless Raphael is still knocking around. That's the only other doubt I've got.
Previously. Busquets is still playing for Miami, isn't he?
Oh, I'm Busquets for Miami. I forgot about that.
Actually, I'm always surprised. I always assume, like when people talk about the greatest players and stuff, and Iniesta comes up, and then it's always like, oh, he's still playing. But I think he is done now, isn't he? Because he went to
he's definitely retired.
He went to the UAE at the end, and you're one of the Middle Eastern.
He went to Qatar, didn't he? I think is it Al? I'm not even going to guess. I'm not even going to guess with the fear of cancellation.
I think it was an Abu Dhabi club off the top of my head, because I feel like he went to like a resort place more than it might have been Qatar. I don't know. But,
what minute are you guys on, by the way?
0.
I'm on 1 minute and 9 seconds.
1 minute and 9.
Yeah,
I've just watched Anderson nutmeg Yaya Toure,
right.
which is a sentence I don't think anyone was ever thought we were saying.
Rebound.
I
Obviously, Man United's got a free kick, probably 35 yards from goal, which you'd be thinking too far. But in this season with Cristiano Ronaldo, I remember this start for Man United.
I'm signing back in.
You see that peak Cristiano Ronaldo pre-free kick stance, which I think he only started to really introduce this around maybe the season before this or maybe the season after. Do you know, kind of like when the ego really started to kick in for Cristiano Ronaldo? Because I remember him taking free kicks when he first signed for Manchester United, and he didn't do any of this standing kind of like pre-Sui era stance he used to do. But in this one, he's like, because this is the season. Does he sign for Real Madrid? He signs for Real Madrid, doesn't he?
Interestingly, this is his last ever game for Man. Well, sorry, not last ever. The pre-Ronaldo era. This was the last ever game, but Obviously, Ronaldo 35 yards out, smashes it. A good save from Victor Valdez. But back in this season or this era, Cristiano Ronaldo was expected to hit the target or score from these free kicks. Whereas in latter years, it's become a bit of a not joke because he's one of the greatest players ever, but he's not renowned for scoring free kicks anymore, is he?
Yeah, this was.
Do you remember that one against Portsmouth?
That's what I was going to say.
Unbelievable.
That's this season as well. It's the same season, I think. In that, again, that lovely, just clear red Man United. I think it's the red of the Man United shirt this season. Obviously, they're wearing their white away shirt in this, which is also very nice. One other thing, again, we were talking about kits. I love Barcelona shirts, but I'm not a big fan of this one, actually. I don't hate it, but it's not. The season after is my favourite. The 2 seasons after. The one, the Zlatan season with that sort of blue trim. But this one I'm not so big on.
No, I don't like it when Barca go half and half. I think there are some rules that we need to apply to kits from time to time, and that is Barcelona need to play in stripes. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's some iconic shirts in there, like the centenary shirt you had in 99 to 2000 with the giant collar. I might forgive that, but I just feel they need to be in stripes.
Okay, and while you do now, what time are you on, guys? Because I'm up and running.
I'm on 350.
Oh,
very good. For anybody who wasn't GearyCast fans, we could never ever get our minutes correctly, so it's a good start. Minus the captain of the pilot. No, yeah, the captain of the ship being way behind.
Yeah,
we'll blame it on the
international. Look at a young Pep. Look at a haired Pep.
Looks like I'm going to comment earlier about that. I mean, look at a young Sir Alex there as well, chewing very, very vigorously.
Right, I'm on.
Who was his assistant then? Who was sat next to him then?
It was
Yes.
Rennie Muhlenstein.
Rennie Muhlenstein.
That's the one. Yeah, that's him. I was like, that's not Queer Oz or Mike Phelan.
I don't think he got a mention on the Lost Bios episode this week, but we obviously did about Brondby, and in my sort of research, I read up on Muhlenstein's time at Brondby, which was not very successful. And I seem to recall when he went to Fulham, he wasn't very successful either. And off the top of my head, he also, I think, and I don't know this, I think he managed Anzi as well. You know, the club from Chechnya that had all the.
Now you say that, and now I think he works for Talksport or MUTV or something. He created it was meant to. I'm sure that Carlos Queiroz went before Rennie Muhlenstein.
I think he did. Yeah.
Right, sorry guys, I've got a bit confused because I'm looking at the minute on the feed, not the minute on the game clock. So while you on?
I'm on
the game clock at 5:30.
5:35.
Okay, I think I'm.
You know what I also really like about watching games about this? Proper football boots. Nike Tiempos. Wayne Rooney in those total 90s, yellow, black.
Oh yeah.
They just don't do it like they used to, do they?
No. It's just showing you on camera there. You've got Ryan Giggs pulling up the captain's armband, switching over to Carlos Puyol, switching up the captain's armband. I am going to enjoy this Sunday morning bit of football, I think, because fucking fantastic. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
We've definitely clicked not made for kids. Partially because I knew that, maybe just to put it out there, we're probably not going to do this on every 11 o'clock on Sunday morning because it's not really a peak time for watching football. Though I could be watching Racing Ferrol at the minute. They've just kicked off in the Premier Ref, but this is maybe a little bit of a better option. I'm not just opened a can either. Well, I have, but it's an Iron Brew, not a beer.
See, I kind of restricted myself from having a beer. We did actually say as a team that maybe going forward, we could say tonight's game's in Rome. We could introduce ourselves with an Italian ale of some sort.
I was saying to Nick before we press record and you joined us that yesterday evening, I thought, I'll get some beers from my fridge. And I thought, tell you what would be quite fun. I'll get some Estrella Damm in. And only went in 2 supermarkets, but it's really hard to get Estrella Damm here, and I wasn't that desperate for it. So, yeah.
you think it's hard to bite in Spain, Matt. Try being in Doncaster or Blackpool.
No, I think you'll be better. You'll get a stray dam. That they've got it in the shops over here. It's like mass market, is it?
Yeah. Just seeing then, gents. Obviously, we're 7.5 minutes into the game. Cristiano Ronaldo's had 2 efforts from 30 yards. That just shows where his career currently was in 2008-2009 season. Goals.
Yeah, and this I don't know if you know the story, because I think it's quite it's told quite a lot about the start of this game, because obviously Man United, they not really dominating, but certainly come out the blocks better. Do you know the story allegedly of why they come out the blocks better?
No,
I don't think so.
It's because Pep Guardiola decided to do something a bit different in his pre-match. So he did his team talk and tactics and things like that. And he said, right, everyone watch this. And he got this journalist from, I can't remember, one of the Spanish TV stations to put together this video. And it had the Gladiator film theme. And he said, every player has got a feature in this video. Even people have played bit parts. So all the squad were in it and had this sort of emotional music that built up to, I can't remember who's singing it, but it builds up to Ness and Dormer, and all the players were just in tears. And he says to this day that it completely backfired. He wanted them to go out all pumped up, and he said he sent them out over emotional. And the players said they were all just they were all psyched up, ready. And then he showed this video. But apparently I didn't know this till I've just read something this week. Oh, here we go. I've just seen the goal. I might be a bit ahead. That he promised this TV station that they could show it if they won, and it was the most watched thing on Spanish TV that week or something.
That is absolutely prime Eto'o, that, isn't it? Cut back in and just, I don't want to say toe poke it, but he was always just good at getting a straight shot across the goal, wasn't he?
No, I think you're right, Nick. I would say toe poke, and it's an underrated goal. If you're toe poking the ball, the amount of power what you gain on that. None of this side footing crap what you see these days, way too much. But Edwin van der Sar is a fantastic goalkeeper. Do you guys think he should have done a little bit better with that, maybe?
Yeah, but a bit like you just said, though, Luke, I think the reason he doesn't do so good with it because he sort of toe pokes it. It's
the sheer power.
Off guard because he sort of was a bit of a stretch for it. And obviously, I know I mentioned him earlier. It's a great, perfect pass from Iniesta to set him up as well.
I mean, like we said a minute ago, that goal was totally against run of play, really. We had Man United dominating, but Man United had 3 previous shots. They had majority of the ball. Barcelona, known in this kind of era for the start of the tiki-taka, I don't think they've been in control of the ball so far, have they?
No, I'd agree on that as well. And I think, to be fair, that the biggest casualty of that goal was how easily putting Nemanja Vidic on his arse. And I'm going to say something. This isn't clickbait. This isn't us trying to, can watchers be controversial? I never really rated Nemanja Vidic as a centre-back. Compared to A, his partner in Rio Ferdinand, but B, some of the other centre-backs of this era as well. He just didn't really do it for me. He was a good player, but he wasn't elite like they talk about him now.
I think he was elite, but partly because those two complement each other so well. Because I do think Rio's one of the greatest defenders in my lifetime. So I think Rio's better, but I think those two together is perfect. Obviously not in this game. It's quite funny. Just looking at they put the camera on Rio's face after the goal, or it showed him trying to pump the team up. I don't know if you noticed, but if you Google this game, the thing that comes up a lot is Rio Ferdinand interviews. He's really obsessed with this game. It really haunts him, it seems. I didn't read many of them. I sort of clicked on maybe one of them, but the amount of times he talks about this night, and it's certainly more than the 2011 loss, where obviously they played Barcelona at Wembley in the final again. It's strange.
Yeah, no, it's he is a bit bad at that though, isn't he? I think Rio Ferdinand will. As don't get me wrong, I think he's turned into a bit of a cock nowadays, but as an elite player, you will obsess over those, there is no shame in losing to this Barcelona side, but you will think on it and dwell on it, won't you? It'll eat you up.
Sorry, I was laughing at Anderson.
I've just seen
Rio Ferdinand to me, and I've not really listened much to it, but obviously you see clips on social media, and I'm sure he must have been on it. But he is the ultimate, what do you call it? Jake Humphreys high performance podcast, isn't he? I can imagine him being very earnest and serious on that. He must have been on it.
I think he'll now be forever remembered for the commentary of Vinny Jr. in the the Champions League final. He's going Ballon d'Or. He says it 8 times, and it's just like, come on.
Is it when Ronaldo scores and he's in the studio and it's that is what he does. That is what he does.
Which is a shame, really, because I think the thing people talk about him as a centre back is obviously he's very sort of intelligent as a footballer. So be nice to have some of that insight in his punditry.
I think he's got it down perfectly. Yeah, I think he nailed it perfectly. But
in this era of football as well, guys, I think the centre halves pairings for many teams were great centre halves. I mean, you look at obviously John Terry and one of the Portuguese, maybe Carvalho. The Barcelona, strange one on this occasion, I guess. But like Max said, with the suspension of Dani Alves, moving Carlos Puyol out there, I think that showed how good of a player Carlos Puyol was as well.
Well, he did start as a right back as well, Carlos Puyol. It was only a couple of years later. But again, I think it's worth noting here while you're talking about the centre backs that in the build up to this game, the bookies, not by much, but Man United are the favourites because it's sort of seen that Barcelona won't be pragmatic enough for a final. And like this is sort of the reason why I think this is a good choice for a first game to do is like this game, it really is a turning point in sort of football history where everyone sort of goes, okay, this Barcelona are good, but then this is like, oh, right, this is like this style of football is completely different.
It was an evolution, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like I think not to, champion my other project, but when we had Graham Hunter on the podcast, you were on, Nick, and I sort of said then that like in my lifetime and our lifetimes, I think it's the most game-changing team of our lifetime because I think I said then I sort of missed Saki. I suppose there's an argument for Ajax mid-90s, but really I think this is the one.
Well, you spoke before about Thierry Henry and becoming a bit more sacrificial and things like that. You can see in the how Barcelona playing this is that's what he does. He needs to hold up the ball more, where ordinarily he'd be looking to make the running behind if he was at Arsenal. That's what he became famed for, really, wasn't it? So, he really did change up everything.
Basically tells him, and I think just all season, not in this game necessarily, that he just wants him to run towards the byline or the goal. What do you call it? Yeah, the byline, like towards the corner flag. And he's like, okay, so someone's going to ping a long range pass to me. And he's like, no, I want you to be a decoy. It's like for Messi. But then he sort of says, like, but the guy was such a genius. I just listened to him.
Guys,
that's it.
Just seeing Gerard Piqué getting his yellow card on the 15th minute, Ronaldo driving it in one-on-one. Is Piqué the last man there? Does VAR ask a little bit more of that with the greatest player on the planet at that current time?
Yeah, definitely planting himself in the ground as well. Knows exactly what he's doing.
And I think that's what Sir Alex is asking the question. Just going back to what you guys were talking about a minute ago regarding the two finalists and Man United maybe being the favourite. I don't always think it's the case in Champions League finals that it is the best two teams in Europe that season. This occasion, I think there's every chance of that. Like Barcelona were looking to complete the treble. Man United had won the Premier League, I believe.
And also, they're the reigning European champions.
Yeah, so this were a huge game and a very good pick, Matt. At the time, it surprised me a bit where it came from. But now, the more you look into the game, it's a fantastic cup final.
Well, I think at the time as well, you've got the other factors in it, and not to diminish what Manchester United and Barcelona are doing because they were the peak powers at the time. But you've got Real Madrid in a serious funk at this point. Out of a Florentino Perez era. You've got, maybe really apart from Chelsea, massive competition on a domestic front for Manchester United as well, because, Arsenal and Liverpool are serious on the way in here. Man City are still, I think, under or maybe have just been taken over by Sheikh Mansour at this point.
I think, yeah.
And then even in the Italian parts of it, you've got, Ancelotti starting to wind down at Milan. Juve have been relegated down to the third tier or second tier? Yeah. So, it's a great chasm of football powers here where these two got to absolutely dominate and do whatever they want for a bit.
Yeah, speaking of turning points as well, you're talking about Manchester City there and that they've been taken over. He's not in the starting 11, but he does come on later. I know Carlos Tevez, he sort of cites this game as a bit of, he says like, I should have played this game. And that's what sort of pissed him off even more and that's why I went to Manchester City. And obviously that sort of all starts because they win the league 2 years later then, don't they? But
yeah.
Speaking of ex-Manchester City players, actually, or future Manchester City players, I'm trying to get the timeline right here. The one player we haven't mentioned who I'd sort of forgot about was Silvinho.
Yeah, I was just thinking about him. Do you know what he's doing nowadays?
I do. He is. I know about he's the manager of Albania.
He is.
But he's also not just the manager. They've given him citizenship because he's such like a legend there.
I mean, I did not expect that. I was thinking like director of football, like Corinthians or something like that.
He was the manager at Corinthians before Albania. Yeah, so I think he started out at I think it was Lyon, wasn't it? And then he went back to Brazil with Corinthians. And then I just double checked it. I had to like think about it and go, what? That's such a weird move. Like, because I'm not going to say Albania aren't a footballing superpower. I'm not that crude. But they've got some good players. But if you are, at those two clubs and you've got, a certain pedigree and seemingly if you work under or with or have been related to by any kind of sixth degree with Pep Guardiola, you get a top manager's job nowadays.
Yeah, yeah.
Like an elite one.
Yeah, he can't remember. Yeah, he went to City after this, I think, didn't he? I think this is his. I think, he was part of that sort of middle Manchester City before they went full.
I think it was Arsenal to Barcelona. Barcelona back towards City. He always had a goal with him. He always had a goal in that left peg.
I think he went. Oh, I can't remember. No, maybe he started at Celta Vigo. He's definitely played for Celta Vigo too. I can see all his clubs. I can't put them in order weirdly. But yeah, I always really liked him. He won the league with Arsenal. Actually, he was part of that.
Yeah.
I think he's part of.
It's just. I think there's something about being a left back with Barcelona as well. Maybe only in recent years we could say maybe that sort of ebbed him, but whoever they had there was always just a proper, strong, difficult, knowledgeable left back. Whether it was Van Bronckhorst, whether it was Silvinho, Abidal played there for a little while, Jordi Alba.
Did Silvinho only play this game because of the suspension of Eric Abidal? Do we know?
Absolutely, yeah. He played like in and out of the team. Pretty much throughout his old Barcelona thing. I don't remember him ever being first choice, but always like a very dependable backup.
Something to make you guys feel old now is Silvinho is actually 51 years old. Yeah. his career were many years at Corinthians, onto Arsenal, then the Celta Vigo move for 3 seasons, onto Barcelona for 5 seasons, and then finished up at Man City. I thought he went back to Brazil after that.
Tell you what, we took Ji-sung Park. He took a clatter in there and got straight back up. Within no chance without many players do that.
I think Ji-sung Park over the years got more and more respect from everybody when we all learned what he was capable of doing. I think it was Nick who mentioned earlier the job on Andrea Pirlo, what he did. When Man United used to play Liverpool or something, they regularly put him on Steven Gerrard or even Chelsea, maybe a Frank Lampard, I guess. But like you said, Matt, he went from the creative player to more the Mr. Reliable.
Well, the big thing for Park Ji-sung was always that he knew exactly why he'd been bought. There was no bullshit with him. He was bought as a commercial asset so he could promote Manchester United in Asia, especially in South Korea and by relation the surrounding satellite countries as well. But instead of that letting him define him and being like, oh well, I'm just here to make up the numbers, he went, bugger it, I'm going to enjoy myself whilst I'm here. I'm going to be a player whilst I'm here, and I'm going to do whatever Sir Alex Ferguson tells me to do.
Yeah. To be fair, well though, he had been very successful with PSV. He's not just some.
No, they've not like picked him up off the street or something like that. But like, he's not the caliber that Manchester United were buying back then, really, was he? If you look at what the money they were spending on Wayne Rooney, on Dimitar Berbatov, Tevez, Carrick.
That was strange. See that Barcelona goal kick? He just smashed it. You can see who took it.
Before woke football, back when players could actually do as they please.
I think it's because Victor Valdez. I think he's got a knock, hasn't he?
Victor Valdez as well. So, who it surprised some people. I don't know if you ever do those quizzes see those quizzes online, and they're usually by children. When I say children, I mean like 18 to 21-year-olds who think they know football.
Gary,
have no idea that Victor Valdez played for Middlesbrough. It just completely passed them by. Another one to join the managerial ranks as well. That's what makes me sad looking at this list. How many players on this list now are either managers, sporting directors, or in some cases, football club owners. And Victor Valdez had a brief stint as a Villa manager at the back end of last season.
I'm quite curious. Who's the football club owner?
It is Gerard Piqué.
Yeah. And also Ryan Giggs, I suppose, owns.
I think Giggs, and I don't know if Paul Scholes is still involved actually, or whether even Giggs is, because I believe he's not signed him out.
Yeah, I believe it's just Scholes who was knocking around. Gary Neville obviously pulled out at the beginning of last season.
Well, they all sold to Beckham's mates, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, you've got to look at it. You've got Edwin van der Sar, who is he still the director of football at Ajax?
Yeah, I think so.
John O'Shea's done several assistant manager roles. Rio's just doing his thing on TNT. Vidic played in Soccer Aid, so he's still there. Patrice Evra is just high on life. Michael Carrick, previous manager. I'd be interested to see where Anderson is.
I was just thinking that Anderson's either going to be like, I don't know.
Dance.
Yeah, he's either going to have like his own restaurant in Rio de Janeiro, or he's going to be. Do you know those like soccer schools that you see in the Middle East where you can sign your kids up to train with an ex-pro?
Yeah,
and like I've seen a lot with them with like Sol Campbell and Eric Jemba. And it's like go and train with a pro. I can see Anderson doing that, living in the UAE as like just a glorified PE teacher.
I will say Anderson, he put a lot of weight on, and obviously the famous clips for Adriano in Brazil, very weighty, just a guy just living life in the favelas. I'm seeing Anderson maybe walking down the Copacabana beach selling watermelons or something.
Well, I can tell you that if you go on his Wikipedia page, there's no post-career stuff, but the last thing on his personal life is the most up-to-date information I can find is in September 2024, a Brazilian court ruled that Anderson would face prison unless he paid outstanding child's maintenance over £45,000. So that's the last I've heard.
I suppose there's another football club owner on this pitch as well. I suppose he's football club owner, manager and TV personality, hitting the trifecta of post-career football, and that's Thierry Henry. As he's a co-owner of Como, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got some stake in. Yeah, I don't know fully what the deal is with him, but
he's an enigma. That's what it is. That's where that Renault Clio money goes. That's the va-va-voom.
You got to think, guys, from this game so far. I mean, Lionel Messi's been quiet. Ronaldo's had his efforts, but even a player then was just come on screen. Wayne Rooney. Rooney's not really done much, and effectively Rooney, well, one of the greatest players ever, obviously.
Well, when he came on the camera, because I hadn't really noticed him, and they put the camera on him for a bit, I was trying to go, is this pre or post hair transplant? I think it's pre still.
Pre. It's got to be pre.
Definitely pre.
I think he took Pep Guardiola's last strands.
I forgot how much hair Pep did have at this time, because I knew he did have hair, but I forgot he had it this late in his. Well, I know it was early in his managerial career, but
this is the big question for the episode: is Pep electively bold or actually bold? Because I know he's bolding, but could he revive that Thatch?
I don't think he can. I think it's been too long now.
Yeah. I think
Is that how it works?
The beard's still
Shave it down to the nub.
Who was the famous one for that? I'm trying to think. There was a player that was like quite bald throughout most of his career, and then when he became a pundit, it was like turned out he could just grow hair. I can't remember who it was. It's some sort of job in Football League, Premier League, tough centre back.
I think I've got it in my mind who you mean, because everyone was like, "Well, you could just grow hair this whole time."
But I can't remember who it was.
That's gonna make Jeff Bezos really bad if I type that in.
Definitely can't be Sam.
If I type that into Google, Jeff Bezos is gonna go, "What is Nick doing?"
I mean, you look at these two starting 11s, and how many managers have made a good career out of management. You think obviously Wayne Rooney's been a failed manager. I suppose Xavi's been good, hasn't he? Or where he just dealt a good card?
He won a La Liga, didn't he? That's not, a given.
Yeah, especially during the time that Barcelona were going through, with the off-field problems and
Michael Carrick. Obviously, his tenure at Middlesbrough, I guess, wasn't too good when you think about like what Rob Edwards is doing now.
Yeah, and I guess the most successful, because he's not won anything, but he's won citizenship, is Silvino.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's the real winner?
Yeah, took Albania to their first ever.
Am I right in thinking that Carlos Tevez is managing these days?
I think he has managed one of the smaller.
He's not been doing it for very long. I'm sure he has. Carlos Tevez, who recently turned up at Soccer Aid and absolutely destroyed Old Trafford, bagging a hat trick and going through their most famous current YouTuber.
Did he?
It's just everything about that sentence just made me upset. Then
he got booed. He got booed like hell, and even shushed the Stretford end in Soccer Aid.
He is the current manager of Talleres, but he's been manager of Rosario Central and Independiente.
That's when I last saw Rosario Central.
Yeah.
I think we're all forgetting about Samuel Eto'o's stint as Atiliaspor manager as well back in 2016.
He managed one of those, yeah.
Samuel Eto'o, one of the most interesting careers you can keep track of where he went. So even one of the most famous and weird ones were even signing for Everton.
Yeah, that was weird.
To be honest with you, I think it might have been on the Football Ramble where they do a thing and you've got a name. Like you say, Samuel Eto'o's played for however many clubs, 12 clubs. How many do you think you can name? And you sort of do that. And I was sort of playing along with it. And I think I can do most of these. The one I forgot was Chelsea. I remembered Everton. I don't remember Chelsea.
My biddy aunt.
Yeah,
that would be a great thing to do on the Rebound as well. Just like guessed it out and things like that, because I was listening to it on the car on the drive home from Bambi yesterday, and it's just they did a transfer deadline day special of which Dimitar Berbatov was one of them.
Yeah, that was hard.
And I think Dimitar Berbatov had 6 clubs. Let's tell you what, let's just have a little game now whilst we're at it. 6 clubs, Dimitar Berbatov. How many can you do?
I listened to Tottenham, Man United. There's the 3 simple ones.
The 3 simple ones. Matt, can you bet a 3? Can you do 6?
Yeah, because I listened to the episode yesterday.
Oh, that's cheating.
I did it. The only one I didn't get was I didn't know he played in India.
Yeah, that was the one I didn't know.
I knew
going forward on the Rebound, we need like a quiz bell. When something comes to your mind, you ding the little bell, and then the boys know that it's quiz time. Because earlier when you were talking about the probably the Asian project is probably the wrong way of saying it in terms of when clubs bought into the Asian market. Very good for selling shirts. So who was the other player at Man United maybe just before this era? Matt's got his hand up, he must know. Never made it at Man United.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Dong Fang Zhao.
He went on to Belgium. He did all right in Belgium.
Why did I have Lee Dong Fook in my mind? Or Lee?
No, he went to Middlesbrough. But he is like, obviously, I get some of this from my brother that lived in Asia quite a long time, and particularly South Korea. Lee Dong-gook in like South Korean is like, almost like their Alan Shearer. he's in the Korean league, like he's a legend. And yeah, it didn't work out for him at Middlesbrough. I think Gareth Southgate
Did Don came back years after to score the famous winner for Sunderland against Man City live on a Super Sunday when he took it round Joe Hart, I think it was.
Was that not Park Chu-young?
Yeah, no, there's a different.
I think we're getting us Chews, Lees, and Youngs and Dungs and Dingers and all the big stuff.
Park Chu-young went to Arsenal. Well, Park Chu-young was essentially South Korea's like Wayne Rooney. When my brother was there, like he was the great hope, and he went to Arsenal, and I think he might have been a bit of a lad off the pitch. The guy that scored for Sunderland was I can see the goal as well.
The guy who scored for Sunderland definitely wasn't Dong Fangzhou, by the way.
No, because
Dong's career following Man United, it was
just quickly in case we have an Asian audience. Dong Fangzhou is not even from South Korea; he's from China.
Oh, did I say South Korea?
Well, I don't know. Just in case.
No, yeah. No, I knew he was Chinese. He went on loan to Royal Antwerp for 2 seasons, where he got 34 goals in 71. That was the era I remembered. And then, well, several spells here, there, and everywhere. Even at Portimonense in Portugal, that didn't work. So God knows what he's up to these days. So who was the guy who scored for Sunderland against City? It's a famous goal.
Lee. I've got like win somewhere in the name, but I can't. This is where I need my brother. It's good for Asian football trivia.
What minute of the game are you boys on?
33.
40 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like the quality of the game, it's not like as good as I remember. It's fine, but it's
Do you know what a great indicator of that is, Matt? The fact that we're discussing South Korean and Chinese footballers and not talking about the game.
I think the idea of the rebound is great. I think us three being on here is dangerous because our footballing chats can just take us to all corners of the globe. When you can tune in next week to watch Dialing versus Yokohama.
The one that probably would have engaged us a bit more as a game, and it's the game I perhaps remember more vividly, is that Chelsea semi-final at Stamford Bridge, the one where what's his name? Ovrabo, the referee, the one, and Didier Drogba loses his mind. And Iniesta scores in the last minute, and Essien scores a screamer. It's just, and it's proper. I think all the Barcelona players say actually that the final was actually a bit of a walk in the park, and the Chelsea game was like the toughest game they had all season.
Interestingly, in this current season of the game what we're watching, Barcelona actually had to qualify for the Champions League. They went for a third place play a qualifier against Wisla Krakow, in which Barcelona did actually lose in Poland.
Yeah, but they'd won the first leg 4-0.
Yeah, they dominated. For anybody who is interested in Barcelona's group, they played Sporting Lisbon, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Bal. Man United had they had Villarreal, AAB at Aalborg, and
do you know the interesting thing about Aalborg? Because I do remember watching Man United Aalborg in a pub called the Cricketers in Swansea. Do you know who their manager was at the time? Because it was basically it was Bruce Rioch, who
oh god,
which famously and is sometimes overlooked for doing this because everyone assumes it was Wenger. He is the guy that brought Dennis Bergkamp to Arsenal, not Arsenal.
We've had our first comments, thankfully, from Sean, who is clearly remembering that Sunderland goal very, very well this morning.
Thank you. Go on, what's he put?
That is such
that's the commentary. I can't remember. I could hear the commentary. I remember watching that game as well.
Martin Tyler.
Yeah.
Yay! Do you know what? We kind of brushed on him before ever so slightly, but Samuel Eto'o, again, maybe putting on my El Partido hat here, there's not many like people who revere him as like one of the, they don't talk about it in the way they talk about an R9, for example. They don't talk about it in the way they talk about Fernando Torres.
Yeah. Just quickly, we'll go back to that because that's a very good point you've made. But I had to look. I did say something win. I wasn't far off. It's Ji Dong Won. I had to Google it. Yeah, I knew it was like short names.
You all know later when we all sit down, if you're watching the Super Sunday, that one of the famous Sky adverts, what's going to come up is going to be that, and then the group chat's going to be hot.
Well, it's also that commentary features in the intro to Football Cliches podcast, which is
it's going to have Tiny Tempers.
Oh, written
in the stars.
Yay!
Miles away.
And
all in slow motion.
90-minute winner or something like that, I believe.
Obviously, I don't get
you said that. Like the overall game so far, they're nearly coming to the end of the first half. There's not been too many talking points. Like Man United started off the better, then I think Barcelona, since going 1-0 up, have just turned into Barcelona and just kept the ball a lot better.
My memory of this game, though, is in the second half, Barcelona. Like, I don't think they create a lot, but they just obliterate them. I seem to
properly turn the screw, don't they? If I remember rightly.
It's not quite, because I think we even had this. I think we had this discussion when we were picking the game. The 2011 final is much more of an annihilation, and arguably, it's, the perfect. Well, you couldn't say it's perfect performance because they do concede a very random Wayne Rooney goal from nowhere. But I prefer this. I think I said sorry to go back to the Graham Hunter thing. I said on that maybe not this game, but this Pep Guardiola Barcelona team, I don't think is quite as machine-like. It's still being tweaked and stuff, so it's a bit rawer. So I prefer
30 days, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a transition squad. He builds the ultimate squad in the future, but he does, ultimately picks up a lot of these players from before. It was Frank Rijkaard, wasn't it, before Pep?
Yeah. And also,
so he gets a lot of these players from him.
Yeah. And famously gets rid of two of Frank Rijkaard's best players, because he gets rid of Deco and Ronaldinho because he thinks they're bad influence on Messi. Yeah. But also, and going back to, we can flip back to the point I interrupted you on earlier, that he does try to get rid of Samuel Eto'o, and I think Samuel Eto'o sort of partly pleads with him. But I think some of the players say, like, we think, he can be Pepified, so to speak. So, yes, but what you were saying earlier, Nick, I totally agree with. He is overlooked as elite because I think he might be, I always forget this, he might be the only player to win back-to-back trebles, because obviously he goes to Inter after this.
So this also would have been Samuel Eto'o's final game for Barcelona, which then opens up the David Villa next on the chain, I think, wasn't it?
You think so, yeah.
Pedro, they tried to. I mean, the Zlatan were a failure, wasn't it? Really.
That's right. Yeah.
I think you asked the question before we came on air, Nick, regarding the top front threes, but the players what you've got when we're saying like Pedro's, Zlatan's, Neymar's. I mean, there's a player sat on the bench for Barcelona in this game who maybe a lot of players didn't think he was good enough for Barcelona, but what a player he was. Ida Goodjohnson.
Yeah, great. He had a great sort of final well, I don't think it was the last club he played for, but he was sort of a bit part player in this. But I know like Pep really, really likes him. And
well, Barcelona as well at this point always seem to have like a well-known, I don't want to say backup striker. Backup striker is probably rude, but essentially a backup striker. And if it wasn't Ida Goodjohnson, it was Henrik Larsson as well.
Larsson, yeah.
And always
again,
have one.
Again, looking at the lineup, or certainly the bench, the sort of sad story of it is because I was in Barcelona the summer of 2008 on holiday, and there was the Messi thing was just taking off because he was number 27, I think, the season before this, and I think Pep made him number 10 when he got rid of Ronaldinho. But the other shirt you saw quite a lot of was, I can't remember what number he had, was Bojan.
Yeah.
And he was like going to be, I think he broke records for the Cantera and goal scoring and stuff. And yeah, he was the one I was always excited about. But yeah, supposedly had quite sort of, I guess, like mental health issues. He was very nervy and stuff. I can't remember exactly, so I don't want to say something wrong there. But yeah, he really struggled. The anxiety is probably the word I'm looking for.
A surprise amount of future Stoke players in this.
In
this one as well, as what I'm looking at it.
Well, when I saw Mark Muniesa, because they did have, I can't remember all the players, but they did have the Mark Muniesa.
They had a big Spanish contingent, didn't they? It was Muniesa, Bojan, Jesse Rodriguez.
Mota and Bojan. No, I can't remember the.
No, Hosselu as well. They had, didn't they?
God, yeah,
I think they were four.
Muniesa, who was the captain of many youth Barcelona teams as well. He very much like Bojan were going to be the next project for many other reasons, like a Carlos Puyol.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. He was. There was big hopes for him.
See, though we're talking about benches, guys. I mean, you've got to look at Barcelona's with Pinto, the sub goalkeeper, Martin Cáceres, Ida Johnson, Boyan Kirkic, Keita, Pedro, and Marc Muniesa, which before we came on air, I didn't think were a very strong Barcelona bench at all. Flip that on the other side. I thought Man United's bench were fantastic when you've got Kušak, Dimitar Berbatov, Nani, Paul Scholes, Raphael, Johnny Evans, and Carlos Tevez. Some absolute ballers sat on that bench.
Yeah.
You just look at the cost of them. In the thing, I would go far to say that the bench, in relative terms to what Barcelona paid, is probably where I'm aiming it for there. I would say that bench cost Barcelona less than 5 million. I think Ida Johnson moved on a free.
I'm sure he moved on a free.
It cost quite a lot because he was at Sevilla before. I think they paid quite a lot for him.
Seydou Keita as well, a player who got better with age. Very much like Moussa Dembele kind of player.
Yeah, he cost them 14 million euros, which I suppose for the time is quite a lot.
Did Ida Johnson go to Barcelona from Chelsea or from Barcelona to Chelsea?
Yeah.
No, I went the other way around.
And then he went to Tottenham, didn't he? I think.
No, I don't think he went there, did he?
No, he never played for us. I would like him to.
I don't know why I've got Blackburn Rovers in my brain.
Did you?
Yeah, he went to Monaco, Tottenham, Stoke, Fulham.
Yeah.
Oh, we did go to Tottenham, yeah.
Yeah.
And Stoke, another Stoke player on the pitch. I completely.
See, this is the way you could just talk about football forever and pick random players.
Bolton Wanderers, back to Bolton.
Weird sentence to say, but he was linked with Swansea before he went to Stoke. And when I met Ida Johnson, I did say to him, "What happened? Why didn't you come to Swansea?" And he said, "I wish I would have." Like it's like, "Oh, wish I didn't go to Stoke." I met Ida Johnson in Radcliffe Borough.
I tell you what, whenever Messi picks the ball, even at a young age here, like obviously, this isn't his debut breakout season. He's been on the scene a little bit beforehand.
It is, though.
But as soon as he's on the ball, there are 3 players on him every single time, and you still get that now. If that isn't a testimony to the longevity of Lionel Messi, and I know he's doing it with American footballers now, which not to disperse on them, but they're not the same as prime Manchester United, but still always 3 players on Messi.
And just for an international audience, American soccer players. He doesn't play American football these days. He's far too
true. Yeah, gotta get the language barrier sorted, don't we?
But I would argue this is his breakout season. Obviously, he'd shown glimpses before, but that, again, going back to the Ronaldinho thing, that's sort of why Pep got rid of him, because he was getting injured all the time, and obviously he wasn't really looking after himself. There's those stories of him, staying up late playing PlayStation and eating pizza and
I think, to be fair, the season beforehand that he had with Ronaldinho, is still one of the. I
don't think he was like a full-on star, though.
No. There was only a handful of games where they actually did, because Messi was sort of like the replacement of Ronaldinho. But on the pitch, in terms of Ronaldinho speaks about it now, in terms of what he wanted to do as a mentor, he was never going to be the positive influence of, someone who religiously, trains and things like that. But in terms of a influence of style, of skill, he says that I was a big part of that for Lionel Messi.
No, like everyone says that he was obviously going to be incredible. Like it's that famous story of, I can't remember who he was managing. I think Juventus, and they had the Gamper Trophy at Camp Nou, and Messi comes off the bench in that and tears it apart. And Fabio Capello goes over to Frank Rijkaard and said, "Can I have him on loan?" And Frank Rijkaard just laughed.
Famously, the Champions League final previously to this, or 2 seasons before, when Barcelona played Arsenal, Lionel Messi were actually left out of the squad. He had a hamstring injury. He was back fit, but they basically said, no, it's not that they don't believe in you, just not ready for it yet.
And
the other big talking point going back to that. So I think that was 2005. I think
5 or it.
2006.
Six. Sorry, or 6. Yeah. Iniesta was like not in the starting 11 for that, and he sort of really was pissed off and fired up for this one. Then, perhaps it's a good time to talk about Iniesta because I meant to mention in the first half, he's not allowed to shoot in this game. He basically
himself, isn't he, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, no, the doctors tell him that basically I can't remember what game it is. It might even be the Chelsea game, or maybe it's a game after the Chelsea game where he pulls the muscle. Which, and again, you know what Spanish football's like. They all like have these technical names for muscles, but it's essentially the shooting muscle, and it's like torn. And they say like you can't play in this final, and he's like, I'm playing in this final. And he literally doesn't train for 3 weeks before this final because they just have to look after him. And they say, you can play, but if you shoot, you will like injure yourself like for months. So you cannot shoot. So he's like, I'll deal. It's like, what a man.
That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you
tell you what, just catching a glimpse of the ref there. I just had to Google and see, because it used to be for Champions League finals, you used to get, sort of like one of 2 referees, didn't you, really? And maybe Howard Webb was just after this, but before this was Kalina, wasn't it? In this one, we get Francesco Boragina. What a handsome man. What a handsome man he is.
From Switzerland.
To be honest with you, I'm really bad at remembering referees. It's not something I'm very good at. But yeah, I don't remember this guy at all. But
for anybody who's actually just listening to us waffle as well, we are now into the second half. It were a very quick switch over from first, second. Alex Ferguson straight away making a sub. I don't believe it was for an injury. I thought Anderson were absolutely dog shit in that first half. He brings Carlos Tevez on for Anderson. So United maybe going more a bit to up top, do we think?
Absolutely. I think interestingly as well from a Pep standpoint as well, as he switches Eto'o and Messi around,
which is I think he did for the first time in that famous 6-2 win against Real Madrid.
But you can see where that naturally brings in the strikers, doesn't it, from Eto'o and Henry?
But this is it. I think this is what changes the game, really, where Man United are trying to go all out, but that leaves them with Barcelona's midfield already dominating them, about to dominate them even more because Michael Carrick is a great player, but he's not going to chase after all those 3. No.
Shoot me down if you want, but we're 2 minutes into the second half. There's a hell of a lot of big names on this pitch. I've seen 2 catch my eye, Xavi and Iniesta. I can't say that any other player has really done much in this opening 50 minutes of this game.
Totally agree.
Yeah, totally. But that'll be the story of Pep's Barcelona for the next 4 years. I think everything. I'm not going to say that players around them are bad, but everything goes through those 2 players. Everything, and even up to the top where Messi's involved.
Yeah,
Messi won't often receive the ball unless it's come off the boot of a Xavi or an Iniesta.
I'm going to be quite critical of myself here as well, because I've probably made the mistake what we've all made 1,000 times and throughout this Barcelona era. But I've just said then that we're recognising 2 players, Xavi and Iniesta. Probably the player what nobody ever recognises is that third player in there, Sergio Busquets, and that was his job, wasn't it? His job was not to be recognised, just to do the simple things.
But he's one of those classics, isn't it, where people say nobody recognises him, and people say it so much that you're like, we recognise him.
Yeah. However, I don't know if you guys see much of Inter Miami these days. When I'm on the night shift, like previously this week, watching a bit of Inter Miami, Sergio Busquets needs to retire. He's dog shit these days. He really, really is.
I just don't think he's applying himself there because I think it's too simple for him. Do you know, like when work becomes tedious? I think that's where Busquets is at the minute.
Well,
to be honest,
sounds like Luke's work's becoming tedious because he's watching Inter Miami.
If any of my managers are watching this randomly right now, I do apologise. I find the Inter Miami, just going off boil a bit here, I find the Inter Miami, I love it, the fact that you've got like a superstar, but they're all like Jordi Alba, don't look bothered. Suarez, like he's gone. Lionel Messi walks around for 90 minutes, but Messi still. I mean, he won him the game other night. He scored 2 goals for him the other night and that lot. Messi just has zero interest, then just goes bang. Just something unbelievably special.
Just a shout out for people that like reading football articles, and Henri's just reminded me. Henri just did that beautiful dummy that Barney Ronay wrote a piece yesterday about and again, I can never say it. Szoboszlai for Liverpool, his dummy on Monday. It reminded me a bit of that then. But Barney Ronay wrote a very beautiful article about that. And yeah, it was Barcelona are now like they are turning the screw, and there's a lot of crosses into the box. They're almost getting on the edge of Messi's just falling for a penalty.
But again, it shows how Eto'o and Henri have got to fit into this side as well. You know, in terms of being the supply to Lionel Messi there. And one player we've not spoken about on the Manchester United side is Patrice Evra.
Yeah.
What a character!
Yeah.
What in terms of like job? Does he have a job? I don't know what his job is.
Social influencer, I guess.
Just
I mean, back in the day when Sir Alex gave him the captain's armband when the legends had left or retired, I guess maybe a bit of a strange call, but when you do read back or listen back to what they're all saying, his personality in the dressing room was unbelievable. And now you're seeing that more and more, aren't you?
And also, like he was sort of the bridge between that sort of class '92 era and the sort of post Ferguson era. And yeah, you know, when he left,
this is fun.
The Alex Ferguson era, really.
This, you know, we spoke about before about how we started to talk about former Asian Premier League footballers. Now I'm more transfixed in this game because I'm seeing, as you said, Matt, Barcelona really turning the screw. You know who's completely anonymous in this and is just walking around? It's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo is completely like I've just seen him for the first time in about 45 minutes.
He'd made his mind up, didn't he? At this point, he'd made it clear he wanted to leave. He came out like he wanted to win this game, and then as the game goes on, maybe he even stopped believing that United could actually win this tie.
I think he's now thinking, "Fuck it, I'm going to Real Madrid."
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I want to play against these guys every week.
I was going to say as well, but
nobody.
Manchester United and Barcelona, like when they do play, they have these magnificent games. This is a bit of revenge for Sergio Busquets because his dad was in goals when Manchester United beat Barcelona in the 1991 European Cup Winners' Cup final. So that's for you, Dad. When Mark Hughes goes round him and smashes in a goal.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes is finest.
Was that in Rotterdam?
Well, yeah, it was, yeah. Great stadium.
We're there as well. I don't know if you guys... off the post.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Who shot it?
I was off Messi, yeah. I don't know if you guys just spotted him as well there in the dugout, but Tito Villanova as well. Obviously, Pep's assistant, but future Barca manager. Sadly, no longer with us. But again, in terms of, I suppose that was a great thing that Barcelona had back in the day. Is this conveyor belt of managers they could use? They seemingly don't have that anymore, do they? They really moved themselves away from it.
And Tito Villanova did like an amazing job as manager, and obviously he had that illness as well. But unfortunately for him, his legacy is sort of he's the guy Jose Mourinho poked in the eye. That's sort of what I think people remember him for. Sadly, I hope that's not what people remember him for.
He's back on the market again as well, isn't he? Jose Mourinho.
They were saying yesterday that he's almost set to become Rangers' next manager.
Jose in Scotland. I think he has said that a few times. He'd love to have a go at one of those clubs.
He would fucking destroy the SPL, wouldn't he? There would be controversial. Jose Mourinho versus Neil Lennon in a League Cup game.
I think on the Football Ramble a few weeks ago, they mentioned that Jamie Vardy had been linked to Celtic, and they said, "Oh, that's exactly what that old firm needs: is Jamie Vardy on the pitch winding the crowd up."
Strange one that Vardy's meant to be going that Cremonese, isn't it? Like I thought, Celtic or even a Premier League, a bit like a Burnley or something, it'd be a great move.
Well, it's not. He was. I can't remember if it's Cremonense or certainly one of the Italian clubs. Whoever Patrick Vieira manages, but I can't remember who it is.
Genoa, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's all done and dusted. And apparently, Patrick Vieira is the one that said nope. I was like, "Oh, come on, Patrick, have a bit of fun."
Yeah, like an old firm derby with Vardy in it. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, imagine Vardy on one side, Jose Mourinho on the other side. That's
fucking hell.
He was linked to Castellon last summer as well. We were all getting a bit excited, going, "Fucking yeah, Jamie Vardy at Castellon. I can see it. That'd be great."
Whatever happened to? I know we just know nothing to do with this game now. Where's Balotelli gone? Because he was always linked to Spanish second division.
I think he's still just drinking coffee in Burgos, isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say he was linked to Burgos, and then but he was also linked to Real Murcia as well, who have also been linked with Radamel Falcao. They're in the market for a big name at the minute.
Nice, it's a big stadium. There's the one. I think
just
we did
watching gigs.
We did do. You mentioned like big threes earlier. So where do we stand then on the? Who's your favorite midfield three of the whole Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta versus Modric, Kroos, Casemiro debate?
It's not even questionable in my eyes.
Yeah,
it's with the Barca boys. The Barca boys.
Barca all over.
For me, I don't think that three pairing will ever be touched. It had everything. It had the work.
I think that Real Madrid one does run them close, though. I don't think it's a big gap for me. But
see, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I've never seen a three take control of so many games for many different.
Did you happen to watch any of Blackpool in 2009 to 2011? Because the Keith Sutton, Charlie Adam, and David Vaughan trio is pretty much up there.
I don't know if he's still here, Nick, but I think the Sean that commented might be my pal Sean, who's a Cardiff City fan. So maybe we want to keep people on side.
If I can get the question, if we can get the poll right, that might be my nomination for next week. Well, so stick around, Sean.
It has been discussed as a choice, and obviously I have no problem with that. But
when you look at other pairings, guys, obviously Barcelona's had many great attacking players. So I'm going to give you a set of three, and I want one from you: Zlatan, Lewandowski, or Henrik Larsson.
Well, it depends.
There's several categories. There's 4 categories here. So this is your first trio.
Well, because I was going to say as well, Nick touched upon it already when he said, look at how Eto'o and Henry move in to necessitate Messi. And obviously then they get Zlatan in, who is not going to conform for anyone, is he? So he was a car crasher. So if we're talking about Barcelona, I think he was awful or bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
good moment.
If we're talking about the strikers in general, then there is an argument to say Zlatan every single day. But in a Barcelona shirt, I would go with Larsson. In terms of the fun factor,
I'd be Lewandowski. I think Lewandowski's done for his age as well. He's still doing it.
But I think Larsson was just great at that. Like you said earlier, Nick, as sort of a backup striker seems almost a bit harsh on him, but that's sort of what he was.
Yeah.
Come off the bench.
And I think that's what Pep Guardiola did many times for Barcelona. He always got that fourth striker. Can we say fourth striker?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
So your next three: Henry, David Villa, Lamine Yamal.
Oh, that's a bit of a cheeky one at the end because
very cheeky.
I would have, because straight away I was going David Villa, and I think Lamine Yamal's going to be the best player in the world. So
yeah,
I think he is the best player in the world at the moment. Even tonight, obviously we're recording this on Sunday. Malaga play 7:30 tonight, and when that finishes, Barcelona kick off, and I might watch the Malaga game at home just so I can switch over to Barcelona straight away and watch Lamine Yamal.
He's got the fact about him. He's got the fact about him that you don't want to miss a game.
Yeah.
Your next one is maybe a little bit harder.
I
know Matt's particularly a good fan of one of these players, and we're all fans of many of these. But Eto'o, Neymar, and Luis Suarez.
Yeah. Who was the first one?
Samuel Eto'o, Neymar, or Luis Suarez.
Luis Suarez. I just
I just prefer Neymar. I really like Neymar.
I think I'm going to go with Neymar as well.
I think Neymar did himself. I think he absolutely bankrupted his social credit by moving to PSG in the way that he did. I don't think it's controversial to move to PSG, but he kind of showed himself to be,
He split up MSN. He split MSN up for this big move.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
He wanted to be number one, didn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely. He was the Jerry Halliwell of Barcelona.
Yeah.
yeah.
I tell you what, when we rewatch this, there's going to be some very cool. We've gone from Asian football, Jerry Halliwell's, Jose Rangers.
Oh, that was something I was gonna. I did look this up, so I'll do it now since while we're talking about random stuff. Just to sort of take you back in time. So I would have been in university then. I don't know where you guys would have been. So this all sort of it brought back a lot of memories. I did go and look at what was the UK top 10 the week of this final. I don't know if you even want to have a guess at what was in the charts then. But
I'm going to go with the number one because I think the number one is it When Love Takes Over with David Guetta and Kelly Rowland?
Number 3, Nick. So that's very impressive.
Great shout.
In that week. That's amazing.
Sorry, what year was this then?
So
what was it? 2008, 2009.
The last week of May 2009. So this would have been the week of my birthday as well. So this was.
So I was 19. I was in Cavos. I'm gonna go Neo Closer.
No,
no.
I'm gonna go with Dizzy Rascal and Calvin Harris.
Holiday.
You're so close. You've got the right.
No, what was that song called?
I'm just thinking of Cavos 2008. Bonkers. Yeah, Bonkers. Great. Great answer,
Bonkers was
great
number 1
answer.
with Armin.
That's legendary.
As
yeah, I was in Ibiza at the start of June, 18, and the thing is, you've met the mates who I went to Ibiza with. Do you think we ended up in the clubs? Do you think we went to one club and went, this is shit? I think this is shit. A bottle of water is €8. Let's go back to that pub across the way from the hotel that sold curry pizza and pints.
I think you would have been listening to what was number 10 in the chart then, Nick. Red by Daniel Merriweather.
Oh, what a song!
And also number 9. Number 9. Number 9 is one of the great. Yeah, that's number 2. That's number 2.
Oh, is it? What were they called? Or what was she called? Were it a girl?
LaRue.
Oh, LaRue.
LaRue. There you go. Yeah, LaRue. Yeah.
Well, number 9 is one of the great FIFA, as in FIFA video game bangers, Untouched by the Veronicas, which was just amazing. I don't remember this one. Knock You Down by... That's it, yeah.
By Kerry Hilson and Timbaland.
Yeah, that's
Knock You Down. Yeah.
Number 7, Mama Do by Pixie Lot. Number 6, Release Me by Agnes Dono. Number 5,
Great
I love the song.
Great song.
Nick, you'll like that song. That's a very karaoke song, that one.
Paparazzi. It was on in the car on the way to Banbury yesterday.
Paparazzi by Lady Gaga. Number 4, Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas. And then
that had to be up there.
When Love Takes Over, Bulletproof and Bonkers. What a glorious time for music.
It's such a good time, because that was you were talking about it being whilst you uni. That was my transition year between college to uni, and
it's got me so pumped. I'm going to get a beer.
Matt's ready to go out now.
Yeah, this was purely my pissed up years of lads' holidays and not really caring about life.
It's the way to go. I need to find out what that Dizzy Rascal song was called now, because I don't think it was Bonkers.
I think it was. It's bringing me. It was definitely Bonkers or Holiday. Just on the hour mark, Sir Alex Ferguson's now turning to Dimitar Berbatov, and what a player Dimitar Berbatov was.
It was Dance With Me.
Come on, dance with me.
I don't like this Dizzy Rascal. I saw Dizzy Rascal when he was proper grime and stuff live, and he got Calvin Harrisified, who I like them both, but
when he was doing bubbles and flex.
Just on 12 in England, I am also going to go get a cerveza.
Yeah, it's I think I can't remember the minute Messi scores, but I'm pretty sure it's not far off.
Yeah, we're definitely not far away. And to get back to the football, Barcelona have been all over Man United here, which is why Sir Alex is looking to really do something, which is why he's going to bring on Dimitar Berbatov now as a striker, because at the minute, none of Tevez, Cristiano Ronaldo or Wayne Rooney are offering any kind of outlet in this game, which is so surprising given how talented they are. Like, I don't know if you're the same minute as me now, 64, but you can see Cristiano Ronaldo with his hands on his head trying to make things happen, but it's just not working for them at all.
That was the one for me, that shot then when Ronaldo lost the ball. There's just empty grass in the middle of the pitch. It's just Barcelona players. There's no midfield for Man United. I get what Alex Ferguson's all about, sort of being gung-ho and attack when it's needed, but I think he sort of messed it up a bit here.
Ronaldo's given up here, and the thing is that, again, if Ronaldo hadn't had gone to Real Madrid, for example, and been part of that, rebirth, that success that they had, imagine the sulk we could have had on our hands moving forward. Would he have ever have been that player if they didn't build that second era of Galacticos around him?
Yeah, and you could even argue like I don't know, maybe this might trigger his revenge mission on Barcelona and his pursuit, and obviously there's the Messi thing as well, because obviously after this Messi wins the Ballon d'Or, and that pisses him off. And again, taking Park Ji-sung off, I guess they've got to go for it, haven't they?
Absolutely selfless. What a player.
Guys, a Cerveza check. Gilme from Argentina.
Oh, I do like a Quilme.
A lovely.
And while we're talking about beer, a quick plug for the Spanish World Cup final. Go and check out Matt Lost Bio on Twitter, and you can see I'm not going to try and influence the vote at all.
I think we need a retweet from Costa del Football on that one as well.
Victoria.
I am going to cast my vote now, Matt, because I've totally forgot to do it so far.
Great. Actually, it's a closer game than this is, because it's pretty much 50% between.
Ooh, really?
Galicia. It was this morning, anyway.
Oh, that's a picture you'll see from for many years after that. Ronaldo through the back of Puyol, and I don't think he ever let him forget that, Puyol, did he? Because I remember when he was in his first season at Real Madrid as well, he proper did a number on him, didn't he? He proper went from a few times in those Clásicos.
And I don't know why Ronaldo's shaking his head as if to say
no. Matt, just going on to your Spanish World Cup final with 8 hours and 30 remaining, it is very fucking close. There's been 120 votes and the score is 51%, 49
to Galicia.
Maybe not in the current advertised Cerveza's way.
No, Galicia's been leading for most of it. It's been a great game to watch. And Galicia will be a worthy winner. It's probably my second favorite beer in Spain.
Yeah, I think we can all be put in a bit of a what do you call it? We love a Malaga Cerveza, but we also love many other Spanish beers.
Yeah, other Spanish beers are available if they want to sponsor us.
Very much open to sponsorships right now as well.
This is the Rebound brought to you by
Gilme.
No, we're not having it.
Argentina's number one Cerveza.
What would you have done from if we had done this at an evening on a Saturday and had a good run at what Italian beer would you have gone for a Rome final?
I think probably the modern day for myself would be a Moretti.
Don't like Moretti.
No, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
I don't really know many Spanish.
Peroni, I think Peroni would be the one for me. Yeah.
Poretti, the Aldi brand, which is getting bigger and bigger.
There's a Peretti as well, which again I don't know. I'm not too sure where that comes from.
Did you see Cristiano then when there was two balls?
Yeah, the ball away.
And it just blasted at the ball.
Head has gone.
But it's still only 1-0, so it's like, keep your heads, lads, I
don't know about you guys, but obviously 70 minutes in nearly. Barcelona 1-0, like you say, Matt, the game is there to be won or to get back into. I don't really think much has happened, in terms of chances. Probably just more been a masterclass of Barcelona not quite killing the game, but taking control.
Yeah, they've kept him quiet, haven't they?
I think the goal's coming up.
I mean, Tevez coming on. I don't think he's touchable. What's Man United playing at the moment? With Ronaldo, Rooney, Berbatov, Tevez on the pitch, Ryan Giggs.
4 up top. That's what they've gone with. They've gone with 4 up top.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was just saying, Luke, when you went to get a beer. There was like one bit where Ronaldo attacked and there was just literally no one in midfield. And you're playing, like you said earlier, probably the greatest midfield ever. And Sadio Kate coming on.
Basically got just Carrick and because they've taken off Anderson, they've taken off Park Ji-sung. So you've basically just got Michael Carrick in midfield on his own.
And Giggs.
Because, Giggs, does he really want to tuck in that much? I know he's just
there you go. Oh.
And
that goal at that time, he's not a Lionel Messi goal. He's not renowned for his headers. He's peeled off Rio Ferdinand. That is the iconic celebration of taking the boot in the hand.
It's always a header because he's like obviously so short. I always think, when you see like old footage of scientists working with these sort of wobbly jet packs, it's a bit like that. He's like he's all over the place.
And that's game over, isn't it? 2-0 with 20 minutes left.
How quickly did he take his boot off then, by the way? Did it fall off? Did he pick it up or did he literally remove it mid-air?
It's Lionel Messi. He's a magician. It might come off. I think does it come off? Or how does it come off?
I think it does come off, yeah. He lands funny, doesn't he? But that is a incredible cross from Xavi.
I mean, also, guys, I'm going to be quite critical here. Like, should Rio Ferdinand be allowing the one man in the box to come off him like that?
He shouldn't, but also it is inch perfect pass, isn't it? Like, you're right. You could criticize him as well. You could even arguably say should Van der Sar done a bit better? I don't know.
I was just going to say that. I think for both goals, should Van der Sar have done better? Really.
I was trying to find it very quickly this morning. I couldn't. Maybe it's in one of the books I've read on Barcelona. I've read quite a lot over the years, but there definitely is some story where Guardiola says they ask him about Messi at the start of the season. He says he's like the best ever and all that, and all his hyperbole that he likes to use. And someone mentions a header, and he says, "Oh, he will score a header this year, and he'll win us a game." Something like that. It's some really prophetic thing he says, and comes true. But I can't remember exactly the context of it. Oh, I should have buried that, shouldn't he?
Should have, Ronaldo. You've got to think of perfect moments in football matches with perfect changes and so on. But you look in there, Seydou Keita is coming on after that attack for Thierry Henry's. Pep Guardiola's changing his formation clearly. But for Barcelona to go 2-0 up and then revert to a little bit more of a defensive formation with the perfect time to score a goal.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And he was getting ready to come on before they scored, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So it was perfect timing.
In terms of this era as well, massive changing point, I guess, turning point, sorry. Obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson in charge of Man United, Pep Guardiola, Barcelona. Is it the younger coming of age to not overtake Fergie? Because, I mean, it's so easy these days to say who is the best manager ever and all that, but it's all different eras, different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just say Guardiola's better than Fergie or.
But also, I think
Bob Paisley days and stuff like that.
I think the difference there is for me is, and this is where Klopp, Pep, whoever it might be, the only really true person I could put alongside it in terms of competition would be Don Carlo. Is the fact that Sir Alex Ferguson had the longevity. This is over. This is 20, 30 years after his success in the 80s with Aberdeen, for example. But also, after this final, he goes and recycles it again. This isn't the end for Sir Alex Ferguson. He decides to, shake the pack again, get rid of some of the players, rebuild and create something else, and then goes on to win more trophies.
Yeah. That'd been funny. Ronaldo should have been sent off in this game. I don't remember that.
That could have been two then. PK could have gone in first half, and that's naughty from Ronaldo. Right?
That is very naughty.
The little winker, you.
So on the Pep thing, the sort of Fergie thing, but I think Pep is a little bit sort of way some people talk about him is a bit simplified because obviously you talk about Ferguson changing personnel and stuff, but Pep is the Pep Guardiola now is not this Pep Guardiola tactically. No. Man City are a big, strong unit and stuff, and this team are famously quite short, and tiki-taka. I know Pep Guardiola doesn't like being called tiki-taka, but obviously some of the principles remain. But he has changed over time as stuff as well. He's very...
I mean, this is also in an era. This is in an era where a lot of managers are at the top of their game. Like, for me personally, I don't think there's that many world-class managers about these days. You look back to this era, you Pep Guardiola's, Alex Ferguson's. Were Wenger still about, or had he just gone?
I would disagree on that.
Yeah,
for one sole purpose is that
who's world-class managers now then, would we say?
I don't even think it's a matter of world-class managers. I think the role we don't have managers anymore.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
And we've lost a bit of that. So now, whether it's Liverpool or whether it's Man City, whether it's Real Madrid, Barcelona, Swansea, Blackpool, Spurs, you can now take the manager out of the equation and the house of cards doesn't fall down. You can just put a new manager in and it's a sporting director that looks after all that now. So it's a different era with that. Here, you've got proper managers with Sir Alex Ferguson, with Arsene Wenger, with Carlo Ancelotti, Fabio Capello, Sven-Goran Eriksson, people who had to manage the whole plethora of things, from transfers to relationships to tactics to all sorts of stuff.
Here's one for you then. So in the next 10 years, will there be teams what do not have a number one, a first team coach / manager? Will everything run like managers don't buy players anymore? We all know that. No, will there be a time in the next 10 years where there is not actually that number one who does the press? I know they'll have a media guy or whatever, but you know what I mean? Somebody who's there in that technical area, well, NFLs they have coaches obviously, but they're unrecognizable. Is that going to come into this football world? I think there's a chance.
You do have a team. You do have a team of people around it now, don't you? You've got one person has to be named as head coach.
That's what I mean. Can you see that going at any point?
No.
You look back to these eras. They didn't have 14 set piece. I mean, this set piece coach bollocks these days. Everybody knows you put a cross in or you go short. There's not fucking... When Arsenal's guy was taking all his praise last year and you don't need set-piece coaches. You put ball in the middle and see what happens.
Well, that's all marginal gains, isn't it? But you're saying people don't have it at this time. But arguably, people take the piss out of him and things like that these days. And he seems a bit of a dinosaur. But the person that introduced all this to certainly English football is Sam Allardyce. He's the one that copied that American football style and wanted to... because he had Bolton Wanderers, he thought, well, we're never going to have the quality players, although, of course, they did get some absolute gems in that era. We need to, make marginal gains. And I suppose if you've got the money, Arsenal are a good example because you say they don't need a set-piece coach, but what have they done in the Premier League better than anyone else in the past couple of years? Set pieces. So
I think they've just started putting the ball in the middle. That's all they've started doing.
Yeah. Possibly, but
I just think it's one of these. I'm not being funny. For me personally, someone should say, right, Nick Bell, you are now the Blackpool set piece coach.
Congratulations.
Nick, if Nick's a footballing man, he doesn't need to think too far out of the box in terms of what you're going to do at set pieces.
Get them all in a line.
I don't know, but
a line at the edge of the box, and then run in and meet with a header. 2 run near post, 1 run back post. There we go, sorted.
I think 10 minutes ago in this game, I don't know if you guys saw it, Carlos Puyol absolutely launched him, sent the ball to head it. Like that, you just need an absolute tank in middle, put it in there. Like Gabriel at Arsenal. He seems to score quite a few goals from headers. You just need that player to put the ball into.
No, he's not played in this game, but the absolute peak person I would always put that as is Sami Hyypiä. Sami Hyypiä was just lump it in the box and he will meet it.
Yeah, he was a good one for that.
How did Ronaldo get booked for that, but not going straight through Puyol earlier?
I think it's an accumulation more than anything. But I think he should have. I think he could have the booking for that sort of when he headed through the back of him and that tackle.
Yeah,
maybe refs were more lenient 16 years ago. Maybe we're
no VAR here. VAR free zone.
The other thing,
speaking about this stadium, I really like the Olympic Stadium in Rome, and it's possibly the only stadium that I like that's got a running track going around it.
Yeah,
it feels
anywhere else I like it.
Feels very European Cup final to me because I was quite surprised actually. I knew Liverpool won 2 European Cups there, And I thought, oh yeah, it's hosted loads of European finals, but yeah, it's only those two and this one. I thought it had more. But yeah, Champions League final.
Going back to VAR, Nick, when you mentioned it, then obviously being the El Pozo guy, the number one podcast for all Primera football, the Torremolinos game yesterday, which kind of interacts as both the Costa del Sol. Did you see all that?
So I've watched the highlights back. But,
Scalzi! That is Paul Scalzi.
Classic Scalzi.
Sorry, Nick.
Proper Scalzi. Well, you know what? It's an interesting conversation because the way that they're doing VAR in that league, it isn't really VAR, is it? It's more akin to a Hawkeye tennis at Wimbledon type thing where the managers get 2 challenges. And you know what? I think I prefer that to VAR. Imagine Jose.
Yeah, it sounded like it worked. Obviously, Torremolinos.
Fucking hell, Skull.
Ivan Ribeiro had a yellow card. Their manager challenged it, red card. And then in the second half, Torremolinos had another man sent off. Calderon challenged that, and it were rightly a red card, apparently. But I think the challenging works. It stop every 2 minutes the VAR's coming involved.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a red card all day, isn't it, from Scalzi there. That is prime.
Absolutely is.
That's disgusting. I love that.
And it's funny, like I think Xavi is one of those because like when Paul, I can't believe he's got. Yeah, that would be.
Guys, why Sergio Busquets got a blue tongue there? Did anybody notice that?
Yeah,
when he's writhing in pain, Sergio Busquets has got a blue tongue.
He's had bubble gum. Yeah, but like, when Scholes retired, all those like players came out. Like I think there's all those quotes from like Zidane and stuff, and they all, herald like Scholes is the one. Like it was underrated and one of the greatest midfielders ever. I'm sure Xavi's part of that gang. I bet he's just seen that and been like, "Oh, it's not what I expected from the technically gifted Paul Scholes."
I'd gone to Manchester for a weekend and we were just checking into his hotel, and then I got a text message come through about Paul Scholes when he came out of retirement. He's like, "Oh, he's not benched today against City." Like, what? Am I reading this? I was still drunk from last night or something.
He did retire young in the grand scheme of things, so didn't he? Like, you look at the longevity of football.
And then he came back and just started banging worldies again.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know if you remember in the year before, Man United played Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final, and he won that with an absolute banger.
Yeah, Old Trafford.
0-0, and then they won 1-0 at Old Trafford.
It's when Barca had that disgusting, turquoise kit, I think it was.
Yeah. I think the thing is you've got to work with legacy sometimes. And you know what? Paul Scholes probably doesn't get as fondly remembered as, say, like a Beckham, for example, or anyone like that. Because of what a lot of
players do. I don't think a lot of players do from these eras kind of thing. Like Scholes, you med so many players. I used to go to Old Trafford a hell of a lot when I was a kid. But the ball would basically get it into Scholes, let him fizz it out to Beckham or to Giggs. One across the ball, one to drive at the fullback.
Or shoot.
Yeah, or even like a Frank Lampard. Like when you look at Lampard's goal scoring career, like what a player, but no one looks back and thinks he was world class.
It's so easy how I can't quite remember whose toes he licked on that video, but it's so easy how a can collapse on one social media video doing something really bloody weird.
I mean, I'm not being funny. Like these days, when you're looking at players like, it's not against Wirtz, it's just the first player what comes to mind. But if Florian Wirtz is a £120 million player, you put your players like your Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampards, and even these Spanish lads, you put these into this era, you're talking fucking stupid figures, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, there is a website that does that actually, which sort of adds inflation onto transfer fees. And I think when you look at, for example, Alan Shearer, I think is always up there. I think in today's money, Alan Shearer would have cost Newcastle about £230 million.
You can believe it. I mean, like Alexander Isak, yeah, he's a very, very good player, but in the British media every day on like your Talk Sports and all that, they're saying he's second best striker in the world and all this at the moment. You're like, hold on, his fucking numbers aren't that impressive. You look at some of these former ones, your Ruud van Nistelrooys and players like that, they're proper forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Could have done with a Ruud in this game, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%.
Box in the box, they've been.
Where is Ruud van Nistelrooy in 2008, 2009?
I've actually heard he might be taking over Fenerbahce from Jose Mourinho.
Really?
Yeah, well, I've heard because they've. I can't remember which way round it is because Besiktas sacked Solskjaer as well.
Yeah.
So he's definitely linked with both of them or one of them. I can't remember.
Well, that's naughty as well from Van der Sar. I think at this period of time that Ruud van Nistelrooy is still at Real Madrid. I don't think.
Is it Real Madrid?
Sorry, this time. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
It's the season after he signs for Malaga, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think he might be at Real Madrid too.
Because I think the sacrifices for Ronaldo and Kaká signing for Real Madrid were Ian, Robben, and somebody else.
I think he might be at Hamburg. I can't remember. Did he go to
Oh,
Hamburg?
is he at Hamburg at this moment? Oh, yeah, might be actually.
I think it's still Real Madrid. I think Madrid because then did Van Nistelrooy play with Ronaldo at Madrid? He didn't, did he?
Tell you what, he definitely played for Madrid in 2008.
Yeah, 2006 to 2010. He's at Real Madrid. Then goes to Hamburg for a season in 2010, and then signs for Malaga.
What were his stats like at Real Madrid? Because again,
46 goals in 68 games.
Yeah, it's mad. Like he's so overlooked at Real Madrid. He won the Pichichi. It's not really spoken about. Yeah, he might well have played in that famous 6-2 loss. I can't remember because I don't think any Real Madrid players really played in that game.
I tell you what, Carlos Puyol in this game. I always think of Carlos Puyol as this really combative sort of like. I don't want to say angry, but he always seems to have like a furore about him. He has mind fucked both Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney in this match and is living in their heads rent free because both of them keep having bites at him and Puyol just keeps getting up and just brushing it off and going, meh. He's not biting back.
Was that Scholes with that pass? That was amazing.
I think this United team reminds me of my junior team when we were with Scorps because we never lost. But when we did lose, I never did. My dad always said to me, "Don't you dare cry on a football pitch." But we had a lot of young lads who, when we did lose the one game every 3 years, cried their eyes out. This Man United team probably didn't lose that many games in terms of professional football, but like you've just said, Nick, players like Ronaldo, Rooney, and all that, like even your Tevez, I imagine when they was getting beat, they fucking hated it because they're all winners, aren't they?
Oh, I'm just looking at Ferdinand there in terms of like how how composed he usually looks. You can see rattled isn't going to be the right word to use, but you can see that they've got a disposition where they're thinking, "Fucking hell, this isn't great." But again, to go back to Puyol, every single time one of them has a bite at him, he's just shrug it off, get up again, and I'll hit you next time. And for me, at right back here, he's been absolutely fucking brilliant in this game. Well, and he's almost popped up with 2 goals as well.
Has this been a Pep Guardiola masterclass then? Putting Puyol out on the wing, keeping Rooney quiet, and Yaya Toure at centre half. Like,
I don't think
Yaya Toure he's had relatively not much to do, I guess.
I think it's just he's didn't have much choice really, but yeah, I suppose he's drilled them right. I know we started this by sort of talking about the shirt. Definitely got to mention that Barcelona shirt that definitely glistens in the sweaty atmosphere, doesn't it? It's looking very, very shiny now. And Man United shirts, I've noticed, are still very, very white. Apart from maybe Ronaldo's, because he's been diving in a little bit more.
Oh, Fergie. Sir Alex Ferguson, very famous for the chewing gum, of course. Himself, his good friend Sam Allardyce. Yeah. Wrigley's sponsorships.
I think we're sort of saying, Barcelona dominating them and stuff. But when I lived in Manchester, obviously I worked with and I knew a lot of Manchester United fans. When they talk about their favourite sort of eras, this team is, most people I know, this Vidic, Rio, Rooney, Ronaldo team is usually their favourite. It's not the 99 one. It's really, and obviously, like I said earlier, they are European champions and got to a second final. So you don't just brush it aside.
I had this conversation with my dad a couple of weeks ago, funnily enough, but my dad maybe leaning because more the older eras and so on, but he very much is 90s United, and probably rightly so as United fan. The team was winning.
To be honest with you, I've met more people that prefer the early 90s team than the 99 one.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce and Gary Pallister. And
again, I mean, we have this conversation all the time about how football changes, and rightly so. I mean, when I was growing up, you'd listen to people, your dads and your granddads saying about 70s, 80s football. You're like, oh, it's changed so much. And you never really believe it until now we're getting to middle age. And you think how many different eras of football we've seen. Your 90s of just pure football, your early 2000s of get the ball out wide, your big man, little man. Now all this ticky-tacky bollocks and all this playing out front back. Like, I'll be honest, I hate modern day football. Again, watching Queen of the South versus Kelty Arts yesterday, not one goalkeeper kicked the ball long. It's disgusting. You just all this. You've got two centre halves and a goalkeeper in the 6-yard box taking a goal kick. The fuck is that all about?
Do you know what it is? Though?
I would love to see the stats.
Do you know what I think it is with this era of Manchester United? Though this is Sir Alex Ferguson in his Moneyball era. Because you wouldn't be reluctant to say that he never spent any money during like the 90s and early noughties when they were winning Premier Leagues. But this is the one where, you saw that transition out of the class of 92, which obviously a lot of those players came in for free because they were part of the youth setup. But when you start to splash cash on, like say, Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney for millions, Berbatov was 35 million, Patrice Evra, Vidic came in for decent money. And maybe that's what makes it a bit more relevant because a lot of these players had careers elsewhere and they were put together as a team rather than grew up as a team.
I think that's why we all have a little bit of an affiliation. Well, I'll speak for myself, obviously. I know, Matt, you have as well. I'm sure you have as well, Nick. A bit of an affiliation to Barcelona because, they're not squeaky clean. Clearly not squeaky clean regarding finances. But they're not the team what spends... I know they spend a lot, but they don't spend hundreds of millions. But I love the fact that Barcelona aren't afraid to bring the youth through. I mean, like, I think it was last year's semi-final or even Champions League before when you've got Kabassi, Pedri, Gavi and stuff like that. You're like, it's only when you look back and you look at their team currently and you think, these are so fucking young. Lamine Yamal, obviously, they're teenagers. Not many teams do that anymore. They might bring one through, but they won't bring 5 and 6 at a time.
Do you know what? I think that's a bit of a misnomer about Barcelona. And I get exactly what you're meaning. But I think when you look at it in isolation, you go, actually, kind of similar to what we were talking about with Fergie then. But when they did spend money, for example, like on Thierry Henry, they dropped quite a lot of money on an aging Thierry Henry there.
But also the reason, like we're joking about, Palancas FC, as they sort of call them in Spain, the Levers FC and all this stuff, is because when they did have a go at spending hundreds of millions on like Griezmann and Philippe Coutinho and Dembele, they did it was wrong. This shit now.
Yeah, but even before that, it's not to the same magnitude. But how many times did Barcelona break the world transfer record? Was it 3 times?
I mean, here's a player as well, Nick, coming on, Pedro, who adds to the gang of still playing and still doing it as well.
Yeah, he's at Lazio still.
One of the best 2-footed players I've seen, really.
There is a really good quiz question where he's the answer to, but I can't think what it is.
Has he won everything in a everything
but I don't think he's the only one to do that. But
good Pinto there.
Pinto, what a
boy.
He was always
with the plat,
wasn't he?
See, that's what I liked about football, and this time were probably one of the latter times where this could have happened. But it's the 92nd minute. Vidic has just absolutely fucking nailed Messi. That's football where your centre half has had enough. You've lost game and you want to hurt somebody. Now Vidic should get a 6-month ban for that. He's got a yellow card. Messi would still be rolling round. I hate football.
Just look at them all though, like ready to run onto the pitch and everything.
Yeah, quite curious. I wonder how Pep celebrates. I can't remember. Does he run onto the pitch? Or there you go, full-time whistle for me.
Well, Pep was always a massive
before
fan.
He pepped himself.
He was always a massive fan and friend of Alex Ferguson, wasn't he, as well? Everybody believed that Pep was going to be the next before he went on the sabbatical.
Yeah. Well, it's funny these days. When he would have got to the press conference, Pep Guardiola would go, I thought John O'Shea was fantastic.
Yeah.
And
sit down.
Yeah,
look at them shirt. Oh, and the old engraving on the trophy.
Yeah. I bet you don't see that anymore. Woke.
Oh dear.
Shall
Ronaldo.
we go? And guys,
Even Flares yesterday, the Queen of the South, young ultras, they're all about between 3-year-old and 7. They put the lamest little flare on the floor, and then all the stewards raced to it, put it in this little fireproof bag, took it about 2 miles away from the stadium. This is football.
Look at the frustration on Cristiano Ronaldo's face, just like he cannot believe it. Can he?
Oh, and I'm onto the
He
trophy.
is not happy.
This is the quickest transition. I like a Champions League final like this. No adverts, no, straight to trophy lift.
Oh, though, to be fair, whatever this fucking stand is that they stood in front of, that is not the one. Get it on the pitch. It needs to be on the pitch.
Rafael Marquez, great player.
Yeah,
how old was Gerard Piqué at this stage, do we think?
21.
21? Again.
Yeah, I think I remember. Or maybe 22. He signed for that 21.
The boots, the black tempos.
Yeah, it's not like Platini as well. Platini getting on the act.
Who, sorry?
Platini getting in on the act as well, handing over the trophy then.
I thought he said Coutinho. I'm like, surely not.
Yeah, because there was some weird agenda where they were like, oh, Michel Platini wanted Barcelona to win this. And there was some weird conspiracy theory, but, you know.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't remember this trophy lift being not on the pitch, but having this sort of like Roman, the word, it's like the crest, isn't it? But it's not. Yeah. It's the crown thing that they wear. Is it a laureate or something like that?
Reef.
Laurel Reef, that's the one.
Yeah. It's like Wembley, Nick. Obviously, you've been there with Blackpool quite a few times. Wembley is the worst ground ever for a trophy lift. Why you've got to do it up there? It takes everything out of the game.
Yeah, it's got to be on the pitch. Even the pictures when you brought it down to the pitch to celebrate are 10 times better than having it up in the stands or whatever they were bloody stood on there. But yeah, that's maybe that's the start of it. Maybe that's where football died, when Barcelona won the Champions League and they put the trophy lift on that fucking thing.
Right, let's go.
Thoroughly enjoyed that, gents.
Excellent. So let's get some of the admin out of the way. So I feel like we've got to pick our own man of the match, which I think is quite difficult, actually, because obviously it's going to be a Barcelona player, I think, but it's all quite pedestrian. So Nick, man of the match?
I would have to say it was Xavi.
Yeah, I've got Xavi too, but it's not absolutely obvious. But yeah, he was mine. No. Anyone different, Luke?
Yeah, I'm going for Carlos Puyol. I just thought, like Nick said, maybe even more the mentally state of taking Cristiano out of the game.
Do you know what? When Nick brought it up at the end, I did think of going Carlos Puyol, actually, because I don't really remember him being such a presence in this game. I will tell you that UEFA gave man of the match to Xavi, and there was a fans man of the match. I don't know how that was worked out, and that went to Messi. So
yeah, and that is where we are. That is where we are in modern day football.
Never trust the fans to pick it, honestly.
Yeah, and it was like I was just looking at some of the post-match stuff to this. I think the famous one from this is Sir Alex Ferguson says, "No one has given us a hiding like that," which I guess until Barcelona 2 years later, probably. Yeah. But yeah, all the stuff is really about, you know, everyone questioning, like they couldn't believe Barcelona played that way in a final, and yeah, I think I read something with Gary Neville as well, saying like this is the game that changed football because he's never seen anyone play like that. Because I think he was in the stands for this. Also, it did have an effect. May 2009 did have a big effect on the population of Barcelona because apparently birth rates went up by 16% 9 months later. Apparently, they reckon it's from the Chelsea game though, but you know, it's only about 3 weeks in between. So the other thing I thought we would do. I haven't forgotten on the quiz question either. I'll come back to that. I don't know if you want to have one final thought or if you have been thinking. I thought like we would try and do like a sort of rating of these games. So I was trying to think of a criteria. So I think I said to you guys, so I want to give you a mark out of 10 for quality. So how good the football was, how technically good the team were and individuals on the pitch. Entertainment, so you know, was it full of incidents? Was it fun to watch? And I sort of put narratives, like what is the legacy of this game, the story behind the game, etc. So you can interpret them sort of how you want. So Nick, how much out of 10 would you give this for quality? How good a game is it? Technically.
I'd probably put it just over half in terms of technically, because I think this is the thing you suffer from when you put two really good sides together. They cancel each other out a fair bit. It was only in that second half in moments where Barcelona really sort of edged it. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for quality.
Okay, what about you, Luke?
No, I totally agree with Nick. I don't think there's that many good cup finals these days, but yeah, I think a 6 is safe because both teams did okay, but there wasn't that many chances of anything.
Yeah, in my head, I thought I was going to give it around the 7 or 8, but I think I'm going to go with you guys. I think that Barcelona team, over the season, is probably a 10, but in that game, they could be quite pedestrian because, they had Man United in their pocket basically for most of it. So same entertainment. Was that an entertaining game of football? Did you have fun watching that? Were you engaged with it, or were you talking about Asian footballers? So I'll go to you first, Luke, this time.
I'm going to go with not really. Again, kind of sitting on the fence, but I'm just going to go with a 5, which to me is quite a poor game regarding football. I just think Barcelona's got that much quality when they went 2-0 up, the game were over. Even from the second half, I just thought maybe Alex Ferguson, I'm not criticising the guy whatsoever. I have nobody to do that, but maybe chucking the Tevez on so early, it kind of ruined Man United's chances of taking over midfield.
Yeah, I put down 6 for this just because I think there was entertainment in, partly, I guess, because of sort of what Nick said at the start, really. It was quite entertaining to see so many stellar names on the pitch, and there were enough glimpses of sort of fun. I think the person that has raised it up a bit, like you said again, I did enjoy watching Carlos Puyol a lot, actually. He was really good fun. So I think it might have been a 5 if it was a bit feistier than I remembered as well. Like I always remember just Barcelona passing around them, but there was quite a few brutal moments in there. So I'll say 6. So what about you, Nick?
I think I'm going to go. I don't know. I kind of want to go for a 7, but I think I might have to settle for a 6 purely because I think in terms of entertainment on the pitch there wasn't too many things that you could pull out of note, but it is that, as you've just mentioned, looking at those players and these two iconic Champions League sides as well of the era, this isn't a mismatch of, somebody maybe flaking themselves to the final or fluking themselves even. This is two teams that earned their place and they both went at it and ultimately did try to cancel each other out. So I'm going to go with a 7. No, bugger it. I'm sticking with it.
You go for it. And what maybe we'll add all these up and work out an average and we can rate all these games. So final one, narrative. I'm going to go first for this one. The sort of story behind the game, legacy. I'm going to knock it down a bit. I was going to go 10, but I'll go 9 just to play it safe for this because this is the start of a new era of football. And there's so many different stories going on here. Even like little things, like I said, about the Iniesta being injured and wanting sort of retribution for not playing in 2006. It's the first season of Pep Guardiola. A bit like we pointed out during it, there's a lot of players playing their last game, like Samuel Eto'o and Carlos Tevez for their respective clubs. So I'm going to go 9. I think the reason we chose it is because it had this story behind it. So I'll stick with 9. So Nick, I'll go to you next for that one.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree with you on everything you've just said. I think the legacy of a good game is what the offshoot is of it. And no matter where you end up from that point till now, there's a lot you can trace back to this Barcelona side and that Manchester United side. So I think in terms of legacy, it's definitely got to be up there. Yeah,
and the thing I don't think we even mentioned once during the recording, or we might have briefly, the other narrative here is they won a treble. This sealed the treble, which, doesn't happen that often. It's happening more now. But what about you, Luke?
No, I'm going for top points. I'm going for 10 out of 10, Matt, for several reasons. Obviously, like we spoke about Pep Guardiola coming of age. Maybe this was not the beginning for him, but leading him down that track. I think maybe the start of the elite Barcelona tiki-taki style of football. And finally, maybe it was the fire in the belly of Cristiano Ronaldo moving over to Spain, which then created one of the biggest rivalries in football history, Ronaldo versus Messi. This game had so many beginnings to which we're not even finding the ending now, nearly 20 years on.
Yeah, it'd be actually, now you say it, like you give it 10, be quite interesting what games we watch going further on. What could beat this, really? So
Yeah.
maybe it should be a 10. I don't know.
We will watch much better games, but in terms of legacy for the industry, there could be no legacy behind it. Just a great game.
Yeah, it's a good argument. So before we wrap things up, I'll go back to the quiz question. So we've just watched Pep Guardiola lift the European Cup as the 6th manager to win as a player and a manager. I don't know if any of you want to try and throw out the other 5, or I should have asked you to write them down maybe, but
I think I've got 3.
Okay, before I ask you them then, Luke, have you got any, or?
I went with Ancelotti.
Okay, so did you have Ancelotti as one of your 3, Nick?
Well, Ancelotti is one of my 3, yeah.
Okay.
I think Fabio Capello is one of them.
No, he's not. I thought he would be.
Okay. And then the other person I've got was Alex Ferguson. I don't know whether he won it back as a player during his era, but
no.
Just Ancelotti then.
Sorry, Matt. Luis Enrique, obviously.
No, never won the Champions League as a player. Any final shouts? Because obviously I don't want to spend too long.
I'm just chucking names out there. Rijkaard.
Yeah, Rijkaard. I was about to say was someone. Nope. Oh, that's true though.
Ooh,
right,
yeah,
sorry. That's right then. You are right, because it must be Pep Guardiola was the 6th after these 5, so Zidane must be the 7th. So apologies.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I just misread the fact though. So apologies, those people. You are right. Of course he did. Quite a lot. Okay, I'll go through the list. I'll start with one I didn't think you'd get. I wouldn't have got this, but if I seen it written down, it makes sense. Miguel Munoz, who is Real Madrid player and manager, he was very successful Real Madrid manager. Trapattoni won it as a player with AC Milan, and he was the manager of Juventus at Heysel, very sadly. Big name, Johan Cruyff.
That makes sense.
And Barcelona, you said Ancelotti, and you said Rijkaard. I think that's all 5, isn't it? Yeah, Munoz, Trapattoni, Cruyff, Ancelotti, Rijkaard, yeah, and Pep and Zidane. I'm now trying to think, is there anyone after Zidane? But we can maybe
could be Alonso this season. Could be him. I think Paul Lambert might be an outside shout, but
Yeah, I don't know what Paulo Sousa's doing these days. He always seems to have a job. He's gone. Anyway, guys, I think, I've taken up enough of your time with retro football. So anyone that did join us, thank you. And obviously go tell your friends and subscribe and do all those things. YouTube channels, I keep going to say podcasts, YouTube channels tell you to do. But thank you, Nick.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. For we love a pilot. It's nice to be back talking with you boys. I knew it wouldn't take long for us to want to get back together, but it's a cool concept and a great way to spend an evening or an afternoon.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you can go back and watch this again, and it'll be on YouTube. We'll share it out and all that stuff. But yeah, good. We'll start thinking of what games to do next. But before that, thank you, Luke Chambers.
No, thank you, Matt, and thank you to you both for putting this together, and the gang's back together kind of thing. But this channel's going to grow. It's going to get bigger. We're going to watch some cool games, and end of the day, guys, it's just 3 footballing guys just talking about football and running through games with you. So come and have a chat with us and get involved. Everybody get involved. That's one thing we want in the future. Everybody to get involved.
Yeah, like you said, this was a test run to see how it works. So we'll try and shout it out a bit louder in the future. But yeah, and thank you for people that do join or are watching on YouTube now and come back, like a rebound, come back again. And we'll see you soon. Adios.